Hey everyone, I'm Trevor and we are back again for another one-star review video, this time of Disney California Adventure. I enjoyed the last one so much and so did you guys, so I thought we would do it again. A quick disclaimer up front, because of some of the negative feedback that we got from the previous one, I am going to adjust the format ever so slightly. We are still going to roast any ridiculous one-star reviews, but in order to make this feel less like a personal attack, because that's not what it is, it's just some light fun, we are going to remove the names of the reviewers. Now, these names are publicly listed on Yelp, and so I thought it would be fine to share before, but maybe it made it feel a little too personal, so we're going to take those out, see if that helps the format this time around. Additionally, I did want to issue a quick clarification or / apology about the DAS system that we talked about previously. I used the terminology that the DAS pass allowed people to skip the line, and a few people misunderstood my intention. Skip the line is just a phraseology, a term that I use even for something like Genie Plus or Multipass. I even have it in the titles of my videos, skip the line at Disneyland with Genie Plus, that sort of thing. It was not meant to imply that people with the DAS pass have no wait, and that they get to walk just straight up to the ride anytime they feel like it, as often as they want. No, just for clarification for you all, if you did not know, the DAS Pass functions very similarly to Genie Plus. So I apologize if that was confusing to anyone, and I just wanted to quickly list that as a clarification from our previous video. So once again, we are on Yelp here for Disney California Adventure this time. Last time we did Disneyland, but honestly, a lot of the comments could go for either park. Now, when we're looking at specifically Disney California Adventure, we are going to find things that are just about this park. I've already sorted it for the one-star reviews. I've had many fond memories of the Disneyland / DCA through the years. But seeing how they make $6 billion a day and continue to hike up their prices, I am finding it harder to justify going there. $6 billion a day. Where do they think that they're getting these values from? $6 billion a day, I have no idea where they got that from. Maybe if they're including like everything that Disney owns, maybe they looked it up. I don't know, but the parks do not make $6 billion a day. I can promise you that. You want to run some quick calculations? Let's run some quick calculations, okay? So let's just say the average ticket is $150 per person. Where am I coming up with that number? Well, like 104 is the low number, like 190 something is like the high number, so let's just average it out about $150 per person, right? And let's say that the park has a capacity of 50,000 people, all right? 50,000 people. That means that they are making $7,500,000 per day per park. I don't know if that's 50,000 per park. I have no idea what the capacities are. But let's just say $7.5 million in tickets. You also have to remember that about 60% of the people that are attending the park, I feel like it anyway, I feel like 60% of the people are pass holders because Disneyland is more of a locals park. Let's go ahead and talk about parking, all right? So if we have, let's just say 100,000 between the two parks, and we have an average group size of 4 people, okay? An average group size of 4 people. That means we're looking at maybe 25,000 vehicles. 25,000 vehicles. Times that by the $35 that it takes to pay for parking, and you're looking at $875,000 a day. That's $1 million. Now let's talk about food. We have these 100,000 guests, and the average person probably spends about $50 for food. A meal is about 15 bucks. So two $15 meals, $30 plus a couple of snacks. So 100,000 people, and they each spend $50. We're looking at another $5 million, okay? A far cry from $6 billion. This guy is off his rocker. Does Disney make a lot of money? No doubt. Does Disney have a lot of operating expenses? Absolutely no doubt. And so we're not going to comment any further on how much Disney makes, but I just wanted to share some stats with you to give you an idea that it is nowhere near $6 billion a day. The next person says, this is the worst place to be in because when I got here, I was happy. And now it is night, and there are lots of people, won't move out of the way, and not enough seats. This place get a 1-star review, period. More than likely, they're talking about World of Color. There are no seats for World of Color, okay? If they got there early enough, they might have been sitting. But then the cast members will come by and ask people to stand and fill in all the available space because they're going to be cramming that area for the show. And then that entire crowd turns around and shuffles out of the park at the end of the show. Yes. Yes, I mean, regardless of what park you were in, DCA or Disneyland, around firework time and World of Color time, it is going to be a madhouse in terms of crowds. Everybody that was in the rides and in the queues is now in the common space ready and waiting to watch these shows. There's not going to be very much space. What did you expect? Have you never been to a Disney park before? Maybe they haven't, so I shouldn't judge. But they were happy. They admit they were happy. But then they gave it a 1-star review because it got busy at night. Yeah, all right. Can't just be happy because you had a good time the rest of the day. All right. The next person says the lines were long, the rides were broken. This place was a total joke. I feel like I was robbed of my time and money today. I feel like Disney has lost its magic. Oh, here we go again. Another person who's going on about how it's lost its magic. Do you know what? I put it in a video, it'll probably come out at some point, but I saw some amazing magic at Disneyland this past week. I was over by Indiana Jones filming something. It had absolutely nothing to do with riding the ride or anything. And I'm standing there, and a cast member right next to me starts talking very loudly, so I turn off my camera because I didn't want to catch that in the recording. And then I started to listen to what he was saying. And he said, attention please, attention everyone. I just wanted to let you know that Jasmine here, I don't know, that wasn't her name. I was just can't remember her name. But Jasmine here just turned 6 years old today. And I want everyone to wish her a happy birthday. So let's say 1, 2, 3, happy birthday, Jasmine. And it was just the most amazing, special moment that I could see. This little girl was beaming. She was so excited. And a cast member named David made this happen. He just took it upon himself to make a little girl's day. The magic is still alive, people. The magic is still alive if you know where to look for it. I don't know, that was some cheesy line. I will not be returning to this park ever, this person says. Good. Less people. The next one says, went with my girlfriend. Tourism has absolutely butchered Disney. It's a tourist trap with almost no redeeming qualities left. Food price gouged. Lightning passes are a scam that basically aren't worth the price. Parking is now $35. Like, literally every single thing was tailored to make a worse experience, unless you throw bundles of money at them. Go to Knott's Berry Farm? I'm not bashing Knott's, okay? I'm not. I've been to Knott's. Knott's is okay. I like Knott's, but I still find it to be a far cry from Disney. I don't know. Some of you have asked us to get Knott's Berry Farm passes. We're thinking about it. Right now, we still have Legoland passes because our kids are in that age range. They're starting to outgrow it, though, and so we may consider replacing Legoland with Knott's next year. But the tough part is this. If I'm going to drive all the way up to Anaheim, reminder, I'm from San Diego. If I'm going to drive all the way up to Anaheim, it's an hour and 45-minute drive on average. I'm going to go to Disneyland. Because Knott's Berry Farm is 10 minutes from Disneyland. So, I mean, that's just me. I love Disneyland. Why would I drive all the way up there to go to Knott's when I could go to Disneyland? Personal opinion, not bashing Knott's. I've had a good time there. It's just, I don't think it's Disneyland. The next one says, we stay at the Grand Californian to partake in the 7:30 early entry. The 3 rides we want to go on with our 3-year-old are down. We wasted our half hour pretty much by walking to each of these rides in order to be told that the ride is not working. And my daughter is a big Elsa fan, hence why we went to California Adventure after a 50-minute wait. Of course, no Elsa, only Anna, and a very disappointed daughter. Come on, just put a blonde out there and dress her up! Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay, so let's talk about the first thing. Early entry. Rides not being open. First off, not all of the rides are going to be open. Not every single ride. They only actually have a few select ones. Like, we're talking Guardians of the Galaxy, Web Slingers, Maters, rides like that. Incredicoaster, I think, is open. But Radiator Springs Racers isn't even usually open. Now, when I did early entry, they did open it early, so be on the lookout for that. They might open it early before the regular rope drop crowd is released, but I can't honestly remember every single one of the rides that is open at Disney California Adventure for early entry, but it's not all of them. And rides frequently have issues in the morning. We've talked about this before. The last time that I tried to rope drop Big Thunder, it was broken in the morning. It's just what happens. But let's talk about this Elsa thing, okay? So they have an Anna and Elsa meet and greet in the Animation Academy studio. And it's one of a couple of things that are in that building up on Sunset Boulevard. And they don't promise who you're going to meet. It could be Anna, it could be Elsa, it could be Olaf, it could be a combination. But, and they won't tell you who you're going to meet because this is what happens. Cast members are people too. Cast members have to use the restroom. Cast members have to go on breaks, legally required by the state of California. You can't just throw a blonde in a costume and have them go meet. Like, I mean, come on, there are labor laws, all right? I don't know the logistics of how they organize who does the meet and greets. When I did it, we actually met both Anna and Elsa, and I'll attempt to find the footage for you. That was another comment we had when we did the last video. Can you find some B-roll to put in here? Just so you can show us what you are talking about. So here you go. This is what I am talking about. Anna and Elsa meet and greet. We did happen to meet both of them, but it's not guaranteed. It could be one, it could be the other, it could be Olaf. You know, it's just, that's the way it is. The next one says, Disneyland does not always live up to its motto, happiest place on earth. My boyfriend and I booked a week-long getaway and bought a park hopper to alternate between the park and the California Adventure area. The park was not a great experience, but California Adventure was worst. We were first on the Little Mermaid ride, and that malfunctioned horribly. Emphasis mine. We were stuck for almost 10 minutes, then had to leave mid-ride. Everyone was given fast lane passes, but we still felt we wasted our time. The rest of the day went just okay, but overpriced mid-food, and the service was not good. The last straw was the Luigi car ride. It malfunctioned horribly, emphasis mine, as well. We waited in line for more than an hour. The employees were clueless and had to keep making phone calls to get help. We were so close in line, but just ended up leaving. The careless attitude of the employees was most frustrating. No apology! No compensation! I was fighting the urge to shout, "Thanks for wasting our time!" as we were exiting, but we decided to be the bigger people. Not waste our energy. Instead, you're going to take to Yelp. I will be contacting guest services, and I expect a remedy for this horrendous experience. I love these people. The ride broke. What do you want me to say? Okay? malfunctioned horribly. What can malfunction horribly on Luigi's? The vehicle stops in the middle of the path. Okay, that's it. They evacuate everybody, and yes, they get on the phone. If you see cast members on the phone, they're contacting maintenance. The people who operate the ride are not certified to fix the ride. They have to call maintenance in. It doesn't mean that they were clueless or that they were, what did he say here? That they were clueless and had to keep making phone calls to get help. That's just standard procedure, okay? I'm not making fun of this person for not knowing this. But where it is that they think that they were demanded apologies or compensations. The rides break all the time. Malfunctions happen. Somebody drops sunglasses on the track, drops a hat on the track, whatever. The ride has emergency systems for safety to prevent people from being injured and the ride from breaking further. And so when these safety systems are engaged, they have to, first off, figure out what triggered the safety system. And then they have to call maintenance to clear whatever caused the issue. And then they have to reset the system. Now, this process varies from ride to ride. Rise of the Resistance, the minimum time for getting the system back up is 45 minutes. If the lights come on and the audio drops out while you are waiting in line, know that it will not resume again for a minimum of 45 minutes. We waited for Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. It broke a couple of weeks ago. It took them 20 minutes. They had to wait. Well, first off, they had to call maintenance, and they had to wait for maintenance to arrive, and that probably took about 5-ish minutes. Then once maintenance arrived, it took maintenance another 5 to 10 to jiggle the system to get it to where it needed to be fixed. Then they spent another 5 running all the vehicles through empty because they have to essentially test it as if it were fresh in the morning. Test everything to make sure it's working, so a whole complete cycle of rides, and then they started loading people again. So, it takes a little bit of time. The process is not quick. You don't get any compensation, and why should they apologize? I mean, I guess if you're close enough to the line, usually the cast members say something like, we're sorry that the ride is down for a moment, folks. Please bear with us. We'll get going shortly. But it's just like a general sort of announcement. It's not necessarily like to the people specifically. If you leave the line, that's your fault. If the ride, now they're saying this was a catastrophic malfunction. They said malfunctioned horribly. If it were really that bad, they would have evacuated the line. And if Disney evacuates the line, that's when they give you the Lightning Lane, the multi-experience pass. They experienced this with The Little Mermaid. They said that earlier in their review. They got a fast lane pass, in their words, from The Little Mermaid. That's because they had to be evacuated from the ride. When you leave the line, that's of your own volition, they're not going to give you anything. You have to make up your own mind whether you're going to leave or not whenever a ride breaks down. There are some rides that I just won't wait for. Rise of the Resistance is one of them. Space Mountain is another. Plus, here's something else to consider. When a ride breaks down, the lightning lanes start to stack up because there are people that should be returning during this window, and they can't. So they get an MEP. And then later when it reopens, the people who have a return time or an arrival window for the time that it is when it reopens can ride, as well as the people who were not able to ride while it was closed. So it gets doubly backed up. And this is when Disney really starts to prioritize the Lightning Lane, ignoring the standby. And so that's what happens after breakdowns. Moving on. Very expensive place. They don't give you a glass of water for free, or at least a refill when you buy a souvenir drink like other parks do, like Knott's or Universal Studios. Disney wants only rich people. Disney will absolutely give you a glass of water for free. It won't be glass, okay? If that's what it'll be paper. It'll be a paper cup. Next one says, Me and my fiance went to California Adventure Park on May 13th and had the worst experience. We went to grab our first drink of the day, a beer. We went on to Garden of the Galaxy. Garden of the Galaxy. I'm picturing I'm picturing someone with some gloves and some pruning shears up in space pruning the galaxy. Garden of the Galaxy. I stood in line the whole time and got on the ride with seatbelts, and when all of a sudden we were randomly pulled off by staff. When we asked why we were pulled off, they said we were intoxicated when it was our first drink. When trying to reason with them, they took over 30 minutes to bring us back on the ride and argued with us that we seemed drunk when we weren't. The staff were named Chris, supervisor, Richard, and another guy who had glasses. I can't remember the name, but handled everything so unprofessional. We're good, and this was the first time we ever had an issue with us drinking in line. I feel we were treated poorly without reason. Be careful what you drink in line before they accuse you for being intoxicated. I don't know what to say here, folks. I don't drink. I've never witnessed this. Never. But, I can't say anything. Oh, I like this next one. It comes with a preface. I have an absent seizure disorder from concussions I gave myself playing football. All right. I'm curious to see where this is going. So Disneyland provides kennels near the ride exits for service animals. I have a Shiloh Shepherd, which is a large breed shepherd. He is a consummate professional with hundreds of public events under his collar. He is the reason I have a normal life. Today was my experience at the not-so-happiest place. I have seen these kennels. Sometimes they're backstage. I got an in-show exit at Rise the Resistance one time. Big bummer there, mind you, because, you know, you're up in space and then all of a sudden you walk out this back door and suddenly you're on Earth again. Totally ruins the immersion for the children. But walking backstage, I saw several kennels and, you know, animals in them. I've also seen kennels over at Incredicoaster as well for service animals. Just interesting if you've never paid attention. Visited Disney California Adventure on the 13th of May. What's with the 13th of May? We had been to Disneyland on Friday the 9th. At Disney, one of the rides had a small kennel and we had to do a rider swap. That was going to be that for me for the day. I was told that the rest of the kennels were larger. Surprisingly, they all were. All right, this is starting off good. Why a 1 star? Rise, Falcon, Big Thunder Mountain. Today I walked into Soarin' and a kennel that would fit through the door of the kennels of the Disneyland side awaited my large breed medical service animal. Maria, the attraction manager, insisted these are the standard kennels, frankly blowing me off. So my friend had to wait with my dog. Wow, ride without the person I came with. Then at the next attraction, same standard kennel. This time a cast member did some digging. Standard kennel, not so standard. Ends up, one of the attractions in DCA has the type of kennel they have at Disneyland. Here's the rub. They are not a fixed asset. They could replace all of the small kennels, which are all offered as well, in the entire park for less than $5,000. The park makes more than $1 million in daily parking revenue alone. Very close, based on the numbers we looked at earlier. And they aren't a fixed asset. They are exactly what they sound like, metal wire collapsible kennels that cost about $100 each from Amazon. This is very true. They have handles on the top of them that you can basically pick up. They're like the portable ones, you know, that sort of thing. They're not like built into the walls or anything. The review continues to go on, but I feel like we've reached the crux of the matter here. This person sounds like they have a legitimate gripe. If they have larger kennels elsewhere, there's no reason why they couldn't purchase a larger size for all locations. It does actually seem like a fairly quick fix for Disney and a rather inexpensive one at that. When we were standing in line, and we hate to complain, but we had bad service from a young kid named Edgar. We stood in line shirt while after when a group of young adults came behind us and waited. Short. We stood in line in a short while after when a group of young adults came behind us and waited. They got in the ride. We don't know what exactly happened, but I can say that they shouldn't been spoken to in the tone of matter they were being talked to in. We said, "Where is the manager?" They were held to the side, and we don't know what happened, but we've been coming here for 14 years in a row, and we will speak to someone above about the way people have been treated here lately. This is not the Disneyland we love to come to. This person's complaining on the behalf of somebody else. And she doesn't even say what they were being yelled for, or yelled at for. We have no information. I'm thoroughly confused on this one. If you're going to leave a 1-star review, at least provide enough information. Thanks. Edgar at California Adventure is very unprofessional. Did we hear from Edgar? Is this the previous person? Oh, look! Are these two? Oh, they're both from the same place. They're both from Vacaville, California. We're not going to share the people's names, but this is like the person's significant other. They're also leaving a review. Maybe this person left more information. Let's see. Edgar at California Adventure is very unprofessional. Told me in the rudest tone of voice, yelled at me and my party to either listen or get off. Mind you, he's not the biggest guy. We listened and got off, and we asked management what we could do about the situation since we laid for top dollar Genie Pass and Disney hotel stays. We spent over $3,000 in 2 days worth to get kicked off a ride because a child was upset we didn't listen at the exact moment he ordered us to take our hats off. We come to Disneyland a lot, every year, multiple times. Oh, this sure sounds like that one review that we read last time. So not only was it not good enough for these people to leave the review on Disneyland's Yelp page, now they're coming to DCA's Yelp page and they're leaving the same review. Look, we talked about this before, okay? Hats, they fly off your head in rides, okay? They fly off your heads. When the hat flies off your head in the ride, it lands on the track. When it lands on the track, the roller coaster could derail. But there are safety features that will prevent this from happening, and it shuts down the ride. Are cast members perfect? No, they are absolutely not. Could Edgar have snapped at this person? It's possible. Cast members have bad days too. But if you're paying attention and you do what they tell you to do when they tell you to do it, you won't have any issues. I like how people like to throw around how much money they spend. I spend a lot of money too, believe it or not. Some people think that just because I'm a pass holder doesn't mean that I don't spend a lot of money. I'm getting ready to drop $6,000 on annual passes. On top of that, every time I go to Disney, I spend anywhere in the ballpark of $100 to $200 in food. It just depends on what types of food videos that I've got going on, what other types of videos that I'm filming. But I'm up there once a week. So let's just say on average, I'm spending $500 to $600 a month. And you can times that by 12. I'm spending $7,000 in food, give or take, at Disneyland, plus my $6,000 in annual passes. So I'm spending money too, $13,000 at Disney. Someone actually accused me in the last video that when I was saying that whether you're grumpy or not at Disneyland is entirely up to you and it's within your control. The things that are outside of your control, like rides breaking and food being cold and cast members snapping at you and other guests cutting you off in line, these are the things that you can't control, but you can absolutely control your own attitude. Some things are absolutely 100% justifiable for you to be upset or frustrated with. But that doesn't mean that you should let yourself become so grumpy and with such a poor attitude that you ruin your family's trip and you ruin other people's trip too. Remember that one guy from the last video who said that it had been months and he was still hanging on to this? Let it go, as someone else said in the comments. Be like Elsa and let it go. Back to the person who was reaming me for even mentioning that you can control your attitude. They said that they spent $6,000 or something like that to go to Disneyland, and they were perfectly within their right to be a grumpy mess. And they acted like, oh, I think they even accused me of not spending any money because I'm an annual pass holder. I just told you how much money I spend at Disneyland, and that's just for food and admission. That's not other things like Genie Plus or hotel stays and things like that that do come up. Not to mention the gas that it takes me to get up there, and I don't have to pay for parking, thankfully, because of my annual pass. But there are expenses that I incur. But I also go other places, like I went to Walt Disney World this year. And it was my once a year. I don't always go every year, but it wasn't like I get to go all the time to Disney World. And I had rude people and rude cast members when I was at Walt Disney World, but every single memory I have of that trip is great. I have to think and ponder to remember the bad situations, and most of them have already left my mind. Going to Disney costs money. It's expensive. It really is. But that doesn't give you a right to be grumpy and rude to your family and to the people around you and to the people who work so hard to make most guests' experience at Disneyland an enjoyable and happy one. I'm off my soapbox. Moving on. I am very devastated and disappointed. I won't recommend visiting worst theme park in California and most expensive. Waste of money, thousands of dollars spent just to wait in line the whole day. What did you think you were doing in a theme park? This baffles me, people. I never get this one either. Okay, so do you remember whenever whenever the tram from the parking garage was closed during COVID and you had to walk to the theme park? So many people complained about the walk. Maybe you guys are one of them. I don't know. I'm really not trying to rag on you or make fun of you or whatever. But this is what I don't get. You're going to a theme park where you're going to be walking, and then people complain about walking a couple of extra steps. It just doesn't make sense to me. I routinely walk from the parking garage. In fact, my favorite... I ride the tram occasionally, like when I'm in a hurry. Like maybe I got to the parking garage late, or there was a long line of traffic to get into the parking garage, and I'm trying to get into the park for rope drop. But generally speaking, because I live an hour and a half away, I always leave really early in the morning. I leave at like 5:50 in the morning to get up to Disneyland. Usually arrive around 7:20, 7:30-ish. And then I'm usually like out of my car and starting to walk to the park at like 7:35. And there's still 25 minutes to rope drop, and I personally don't need to be in there at the front of the rope drop line, waiting to go. I know that you guys probably are going to want to do that. You want to be primed and you want to be ready to go and get a good rope drop spot. Totally understand that for visitors. For a local, I actually prefer to show up at about 8:01. I want to miss rope drop entirely. So I usually kill a lot of time. And we'll walk from the parking garage through downtown Disney. It's just something that we almost always do. I don't mind the walk. I really don't. This person says that they spent thousands of dollars to wait in line. Again, what did you think you were going to be doing in a theme park? Worst theme park in California. I think we're gonna snapshot this, and we're gonna put it as the caption for the thumbnail, maybe. Worst theme park in California. No. That title definitely belongs to SeaWorld. I mean, maybe it could go to Magic Mountain. I don't know. I've never been. I can't cast any judgments, but I used to like SeaWorld. I did. I don't want to get off on a SeaWorld tangent, but maybe we should, because we might be doing a SeaWorld one of these. I looked at some SeaWorld reviews in order to determine if I could do a video like this, and I absolutely think that I could. But I'll almost always probably be agreeing with those one-star reviewers, because I used to love SeaWorld. pre-COVID was when I first started going to SeaWorld. We got an annual pass. Probably 2 or 3 years we were annual pass holders before COVID, and we went all the time. COVID hit, and we were so excited to go back, and it was actually pretty decent, like during COVID, because Disneyland was still closed. You can go to SeaWorld, and their food was actually pretty decent. And then after like COVID not completely blew over, but enough that the park mostly returned to normal, they started cutting a lot of corners. You see, the whole time that they were closed during COVID, they didn't pay their taxes to the city of San Diego. And then they had to pay all these back taxes, like they had to pay them back due. And so they started cutting corners, and I mean major corners. And the corners that they started cutting, like, drastically affected consumer and guest experiences. And I haven't been a pass member since February now. February of, this year. February. So it's been 6 months. I haven't been a pass holder, haven't been back to SeaWorld. And I'm still a member of some SeaWorld annual pass holder groups, and the comments that I see from people, let's just say that I'm glad we did not renew our pass. If you want to see the SeaWorld video, let me know down in the comments. This place is overrated. It's like they just needed a reason to throw some things together and charge a whole new price. It's small, so you can walk around the entire place in less than an hour. All they have are churro stands everywhere. Hey, Californians like their churros. Lay off the churros, man. There isn't much, and you feel like someone stole your money and your good time. It should really be one price and not considered a park hopper. Some people save up just to experience Disneyland or California Adventures, so we're super bummed that we wasted our money, gas, and time coming here. You do not feel like you're at Disneyland. You feel like you're at a castle park on a day when 2 out of the 5 rides are broke down. My 9-year-old was so underwhelmed, he asked to go home 3 hours early and then glanced at Disneyland and said we should have went there instead. I feel tricked. I will say this. I love Disney California Adventure for the morning. The morning is so chill at DCA compared to Disneyland. Like, best way to start the morning. But they are lacking in their e-ticket attractions. Thankfully, some information that we got at D23, you can check out the live stream that we did recently, where we went through all of the D23 news that came out. It does sound like they're going to be bringing a lot of good, high-powered e-ticket attractions to Disneyland. Well, they announced at least 4 new rides, and an expansion to one land and a brand new land. And we're not going to talk about the theories or anything like that, about where they're putting this, or is it part of Forward, but we have been given at least that are already in development. The announcements that they made were not conjecture or theories. These are things that are actively in development for new rides. A Coco ride, an Avatar ride, and 2 more Marvel Avengers rides. And so this will increase capacity in the park. It will also allow the park not to feel quite so empty. Because a lot of the rides, there are only 18 rides compared to the 34 rides that are at Disneyland. There are only 18 at Disney California Adventure. And at least half of them are little rides. We're talking about Jesse's Critter Carousel, Inside Out Emotional Whirlwind, Jumpin' Jellyfish, the Golden Zephyr, Mater's Junkyard Jamboree. We're talking about really small, classic carnival-type, fair-type rides. There's nothing super special about them. And so it's great to see that Disney California Adventure will be getting some more of those. I can still have a really good time at Disney California Adventure, but I would recommend that if you only have a single day, not to spend it at DCA, spend it at Disneyland. If you have 2 days, you can consider 1 park per day, but I definitely, I feel for the people that spend their whole, single day without a park hopper at DCA, and they do feel tricked. Disneyland is by far the better park, 100%. It says, plagued with broken down rides and dirty facilities. Never seen any dirty facilities at Disney California Adventure. But broken down rides we've already talked about. even as the theme park continues to hike prices under CEO Bob Chapek. What? October 11th, 2023. Bob Chapek hasn't been around for a while. 3 hours for the car ride. Possible. Unlikely, but possible. No restitution for time lost in a line that is dissolved? Dissolved? I'm picturing Judge Doom taking the boot and dipping it into the dip. Dissolving the cartoon. The line was dissolved because the ride breaks. Spelled like breaking the car, not breaking as in broken. Is equivalent to stealing. Okay, so first off, when a ride breaks, they usually tell you, we're experiencing temporary delays. You can continue to wait if you would like, but we don't know when the ride will resume operation. They usually say something like that, especially in the big rides. I've heard it in Radiator Springs Racers, which is the one that they're talking about. I've heard it in Rise of the Resistance. They do let you know that they're experiencing technical difficulties and that you wait at your own expense. Again, if the ride breaks down bad enough, they'll evacuate the line and give you a multi-experience pass. But because both of those attractions are on individual Lightning Lane, or now called Lightning Lane Single Pass, sorry. These names are so confusing. Lightning Lane Single Pass. Now that they're on Lightning Lane Single Pass and they cost extra money, they generally don't like to hand out multi-experience passes for these attractions. But they will do it if the ride breaks badly enough. And so this tells me it wasn't that bad of a breakdown. And I don't know. 3+ hours is what they say. Generally speaking, the longest line I've seen for this is right around the 120-minute mark. Occasionally, I think I've seen it at 180. Occasionally. But this is when I tell you never to wait in that line. Single rider is really the only way to go. But I understand if you have somebody less than 7 years old in your party and you don't have any other options, waiting standby is probably the only way to go. If you want some other advice to avoid this happening to you, don't come during spring break, because this was probably during a break. Now, this was October 11th. So it was fall break. Fall break, that's a thing. Gets pretty busy in October for fall breaks. But not as bad as spring break. Even so, the other thing is that you should... I know I sometimes say not to rope drop Radiator Springs Racers, but this is where it's important for you to check wait times before you come. Familiarize yourself with the Disneyland app and check wait times. Look at what they are a couple of days leading up to your trip, especially the day before. See what the wait times are like. If you see Radiator Springs Racers hitting 180 minutes, rope drop the attraction. You might wait 40 or 50 minutes, but it's better than 180, right? If you cannot single rider it. If everybody in your party is over the age of 7, then you can do what... why do I always blank from people that things that I should know. Things that I should know. I watch these people all the time. Why? Why am I blanking on their name? Holderness, that's it! Holderness Family Vlogs. Or now they're Holderness Family Laughs, because they have a music channel too. Holderness Family, I love the Holderness Family, and Penn Holderness, he in this comedy sketch, Dad's at Disney, he says something, it's not an exact quote, but he says something along the lines of, we can all enjoy this ride alone, or none of us can enjoy this ride together. And that's his philosophy with single riders sometimes. I like it. I like it. I love it. that's my philosophy with Radiator Springs Racers. Look, if everybody in your party is over the age of 7, you can all enjoy the ride alone. Or, none of you get to ride it together. Or, you can ride it together but wait 3 hours. And I'm just sorry, that's not something that I'm gonna do. And it's not something that I would recommend you do either. Well, that's it for our Disney California Adventure 1-star video. I felt like there weren't quite so many Karens in this one. There still were, but nothing like that we could really super duper roast. Lots of explanations this time around, but not as many Karens. I hope you still had a good time. If you did, let me know down in the comments. I always appreciate your guys' feedback. I really do. I read almost every comment. I may not respond to every one of them. As the channel gets larger, it gets harder and harder to respond. I built the channel on the concept of I am going to answer every single person. And we started that way, and I've tried to keep it up as much as possible. I genuinely appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate our members here on the channel who donate monthly to help us be able to continue to do what we do and fund some of the extracurricular things that we do. Like, I'm hoping to do one of those guided tours here soon, and we use the money that we get from monthly memberships for those sorts of things. And we appreciate each and every one of you. If you want to become a member, there's going to be a link down in the description where you can join as a member. We do appreciate you. I read almost all of the comments. Sometimes when there's so many comments, I just can't see them all either. But I do try to read them all, and I respond to the ones that have questions and concerns. I'm always happy to engage with you. So please do let me know if you enjoyed this video, if you want to see SeaWorld, or you want to see the Walt Disney World parks next. Let me know what you want to see next, because I want to keep this 1-star series going on, but it's really going to be SeaWorld or one of the Walt Disney World parks. So let me know. And I'll make sure that we put that in the rotation. These are fun. Thanks for enjoying the time with me. Thanks for spending this time with me. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button on the way out. Click this video to keep watching. Thanks for watching, and we will see you again next time.